Hello everybody, it's Scott back for another episode of Garden of Alchemy, and this is the big day, guys. We've been working toward this. Now we're going to try to produce the Terra Shatterer SS as fast as we can. Alright, so let's take a look. We got our little mana cake here. Looks like a cake. I'm not sure that I'm going to keep all 5 of these in retrospect. I think I'm going to try at first to go down to 3. Because frame rate issues. I was testing this on a super flat where that was the only, thing. This was the only thing on here, but our frame rates here are much more challenged. So I don't think it's to our advantage to have all of these going. But one thing I do want to do is just quickly turn on my particles to be sure that everything is on. Because it's easy to make a mistake and not have your acceleration. So that one's on. This one doesn't need to be on here. Okay, we no longer need that. So let me get into an empty hand. Okay, we'll keep that one. These 3 are on. Okay, so one thing we want to do is turn off this guy, which is our EMC. We won't need that anymore. Okay, we got 1.2 billion left, and we're fine. All this is off. Everything over there is off. I think I'm going to go ahead and kill this portal. I don't really need it at this time. Anything just to give myself a little bit more performance, a little bit more of an edge. Okay, we'll keep that out. This is just going to be what it is. It's consuming a bit of frame rate, but we'll just be aware that that's it. It's full at the moment. So I think that's going to be it for right now. We'll test our performance and see how we are. If I need to cut some of these down some more, then I will. I want to keep at least about 5 to 7 frames a second. I know that sounds really low, but that's just what it is. And that's what I had in my test world. And so I want to try to reproduce that here as much as possible. Another thing I want to do is get another remote. See, let me put this stuff up here. Don't need that. I want to get another remote because I can link it to the trigger mechanism for this cake converter here. I just shift right click on it. Oh, I need to charge it first. Okay, not a problem. Go in here and charge it. Yeah, that'll allow me remote access to that. We don't have anything going on here. I'm just looking for anything else that I could cut down because we are going to try for speed. Now, keep in mind when I did the Terra Shatterer SS, my video using TNT, I was able to do it in 2 hours. So I want to get at least that or better. Hopefully better. All right, let's see if that works. We're full pretty much here. So let's go ahead and make a Terra Shatterer. I don't think I've done that yet. This is the one for the refined storage. So here's the Terra Shatterer. Let's go ahead and make that guy. Put it in there. All right, here it is. So we want it to float in between these 4, which have dominant sparks on them. So we want it to float right here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead now. Let me go out of full screen so we can see the actual time. It's up in the right-hand corner because this timer in here is likely to drift a little bit. Right now it's at 11:11. I'm going to go ahead and start it. Oops. I'm going to go ahead and start it. And so at 11:12 is what we're going for, and 8:08. Again, we don't have to be accurate to the second. We just kind of need an idea. So 8:08. Go ahead and put this guy down and let him pull in. Again, I'm trying to get it centered between all 4. So it's pulling from all 4. Now, those need to be switched over. So there. Okay, it should pull from all 4 of them. You can see that alone affects my frame rate. So 1112 and 808. All right, I should be able to click this guy and get it started. Yeah, really need to turn down my sound. That sound is crazy. Let's see. Well, I'm at 1. You know, terrible frame rates. Yeah, see, I'd like to have better than that. If I could get between... I think I'm kind of pushing it even more than I should. See, I can't even really move. All right, I'm going to turn that off because I think that actually will hurt me. I can't be positive about that. All right, let's just go down to 2. I had 5 in my test world, but again, that was the only thing going on. Let me turn down this sound. I don't know that that makes any difference whatsoever. I don't need anything on right now. Yeah, I'm still only getting 2 frames a second. You know, it's recording. There's just several things. But okay, 809 and 1112. I'm just going to say 810. I know it, you know, to be a little bit off, but I just want to be able to, I'm going to, yeah, it's really intense, guys. And I'm expecting it, but I would like to get at least enough frame rate just to even move around a little bit. But again, I think that if I push it too far, then I lose performance on not just on the screen updates, the refreshes, but just in general. Is there anything else that I can... Let me turn everything off. Let's see if that helps anything at all. Okay, now we're at 5. 3 to 5. Just crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, I feel like that's better. At least move. Yeah. That's feeling okay. All right. So basically we just want to let this go and check it, say, every 15 minutes or so. Okay, let me see if I can get out of full screen. Yeah. So, okay, 8:10, I'll check again at 8:25. So I'll keep recording, guys, and I'll be right back with you then. All right, guys, so we're getting ready to come up on our first checkpoint here. Just want to mention a couple things. First of all, when you are AFKing, stuff like this that's really visually intense and you're trying to get the best frame rates, then look to the ground. Either look all the way to the ground or upward to the sky, to something that's solid. The ground's even better in the sky. In this case, I have a skybox. It does quite a bit of changes. But anyway, that cuts down on the number of visual processing cycles needed. Then the other thing, of course, is in the last episode, you see that I lit all over the place just to be sure that while I'm AFKing like this, I don't have something come up and attack me. And then I'm at a really slow frame rate and, you know, makes it really hard to deal with. So those two things are just important when you're going to AFK. But I do think it's really good to watch your visuals, especially when you're looking at something like this that's so intense. But okay, here we are at our first checkpoint. See what we got. Okay, so we're like a quarter or so, above a quarter in S mode, which is good. That's really good. That's about at the pace of what I was getting in my super flat world. we can keep that pace. And see, I needed this frame rate to be decent enough to be able to place this Shatterer down to see the 4 pools being pulled from it. Otherwise, it's just too intense not to. So I am showing the clock, as you can see from the Mac, because that is the master time. The time that's in the bottom may drift a little because we're being so intense on the frames. But when I go back and edit the video, I'll try to sync them back up, meaning that if this thing is slow, then before the next episode, I'll actually pause a little bit AFK without doing anything to let the time catch back up, so we can get at least a general idea of the actual time. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and AFK from here. Our next checkpoint is at 8:40. All right, guys. So here we are at 8:40. Let's take a look and see what we get. Hopefully we're about halfway. Not quite, but not too bad. So let me get it placed again. As you can see, I got the journey map off now just to be sure that it's not causing any issues. Okay, we got all 4 going. So that's 30 minutes in, and that's where we are in 30 minutes. So our next checkpoint is going to be at 5 after 9. Okay, so I'll see you guys for that one. All right, guys, so we're at 8:55. I said 5 after, I meant 5 till. Let's go ahead and check where we're at here. Okay, so just at the halfway point. We'll see how that goes. We are also getting ready to cross into the 12 hours. I did pretty much want to be here at that time, around this time, so I'm feeling pretty good about our progress. Our next check will be at 10 after. And see, that's not lined up in the middle. You just got to watch that it is. This was a tip that was given to me by someone on Reddit, and it's really a good tip to use 4 mana pools like that. You need to place the Terra Shatter right in the center of them, and then you can draw from 4 mana pools at one time. So that's a good little trick. So we're at 12 hours there, just crossed over, and again, our next check is at 10 after, which will be the 1 hour mark. This was a 45-minute mark. Okay, guys, so 1 hour in. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so a bit over halfway, not quite 2/3. So between an hour and 15 minutes and an hour and a half, it looks like. I will let you know that in my test world, which was pure super flat, I got it in 45 minutes. Now, of course, that makes a huge difference because it's just purely devoted to this. You know, it's a super flat world. This is the only really structure in there that's being updated. And so that makes a big difference. Now, do keep in mind that I also had my Terra Shatter with the TNT that I was doing in a super flat world at 2 hours. So I will definitely beat the 2 hours. That's for sure. Here in this world, which is still relatively sparse. There's not a whole lot going on at this base, but you know, just enough that it does make a difference. And it looks like it may take twice as long as it took in the super flat world at the worst case, which would be for 1 hour and a half compared to 45 minutes. So we shall see. So the next check is at 9:25, and I'll be back for that. We have reached the 1 hour and 15 minute mark. Let's see where we are. Okay. Okay, so probably 3/4 of the way, I would say. I would believe we will do it in an hour and a half. based on that. Keep in mind, for those who may not know before, this is 1,000 pools of mana that we have to produce. All right, and each mana pool holds 1,000,000 mana units. So we have to produce 1,000,000,000 mana units. Looks like, guys, we're going to do it in around an hour and a half. So I will check back with you in, I'm not sure, 15 minutes. Let's say 10 minutes. So I'll do it at 9:35. I'll check back at 9:35. It is now the 1 hour and 25-minute mark. Surely we are getting close, guys. Let's take a look here. See where we're at. Okay, so yeah, I would say an hour and a half is what it looks like. So let's put this back on there. Let it go. I think I'll stick with you here for this one, just so I can keep checking. We're getting close enough now that it matters. Again, you can see that this is suspended over 4 pools. So it's being filled from 4 pools at once, which is pretty nice improvement. It is being accelerated by this dark matter pedestal with Watch of Flowing Time. The setup over there, again, is 24 or 40 Kekimuras with 40 Gaia spreaders, mana pools on top of that. And then I did only end up using 2 dark matter pedestals and Watch of Flowing Time. Every one of those is set to have a recessive spark augment on the sparks. And then these are just regular sparks, except for these 4 in the center, which are dominant. So all of the mana is being pooled into these 4 pools and then concentrated into the Terra Shatterer SS. And it's being accelerated. The actual filling is being accelerated by that here there. Now I'm using a mod called Japta, where I'm using the cake converter, and the cake converter puts out. I need to look at the mod or the manual. If you search that, here's the cake converter, and it puts out a 9x9 of cakes. But what I've done is I've blocked off every other area that it can place cakes except for a center point. And so all the cakes are centered there. And then the Kekimuras has enough of a range to be able to pull from that one spot. And then the Kekimuras does have like an 80 tick cooldown, I believe that it is. But I do also think that the dark matter pedestals may speed up that cooldown period a bit, but they'll just pull as they need. So it's just a huge feeding frenzy from these Kekimuras, which is pushing out mana and into these pools. So I decided to do the Kekimuras because, first of all, I wanted to use RF. If I produced all this RF here, and we'll see at the end how much I actually used, but because there's none being filled into it right now, even though I would be getting, without any acceleration, 1.7 million RF a tick. With acceleration, I was getting 1.2 billion RF a tick. But it's being put into there where there's 2.1 trillion or something like that, 1.4 trillion. So I'd be interested to see how much it's using. But I did want to use some of that RF, and plus I wanted to do something different for you guys than what you've already seen with my other Terra Shatter setup. Plus, it just gives me an opportunity to try new stuff and learn new stuff, and I always enjoy that. So let me check again and see where we're at. It would be yeah, we're pretty close. We're not like right there yet. Get it right here. So being able to place that manually is important. So yeah, this one didn't make it. It's only pulling from 2 pools. So you kind of got to have at least enough frame rate to be able to set that up. So I'm thinking around 4 to 7 frames is what you're wanting. That gives you at least enough abilities. And this clock here seems to keep up okay. Let's see now. At 9:40, is when it would be an hour and a half. So we're getting ready to cross into an hour and a half here in a second. I don't think we're going to make it at the hour and a half mark, but pretty close. Again, my other standard that I was comparing against was a pure clean world with the Terra Shatterer set at 2 hours. And so you could see that in a video that I have. So that was impressive, but I've actually exceeded that this time. And I've done it in the context of a functioning world, a functioning base, where I've got more mods that are trying to compete for processing RAM and TPS and, you know, all that kind of stuff, sending network packets and stuff like that. So again, I'm using up a little of my processing time by letting the visuals process. We are at an hour and a half right now. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty close. I would say definitely under, it's not going to take 10 more minutes. I know that much. It may take 5 at most. So that puts us in a good range. That's exactly where I wanted to be. Let's just quickly look at our day count here. Day 35, not bad. I was at the top end. I was wanting to do 45. This is our last major goal that we need to accomplish to complete this exercise, this playthrough, to see what we want to do. And so we are approaching that completion. I'm really super excited about that. Once again, I do want to emphasize that I try to be innovative if I can. You know, you can't always be innovative, and there's been some people that have just mastered some stuff and really showed unique and interesting ways to do stuff. In Minecraft, that's the beauty of Minecraft, is that it's a creative environment where you're able to, you know, mix and match mods to your needs. And that's really kind of what this playthrough was, that I had some particular mods that I had been focusing on, Botania builds and ProjectE builds, and I kind of want to combine them together into a playthrough that I could do sort of as a speed run, but not really, because looking back, I could have done this probably within 8 hours. All right, I'm at 12 something hours now, 12:45. Learning to do it through a playthrough and doing shortcuts that you've learned from having played through it once. Obviously, this is the first time I played through it, although I did do practice sessions in preparation. Learning those tools. So we're not quite there yet, but boy, are we close. Let's put that down. Then obviously you could cut time doing it the second time. So I didn't really consider this truly a speed run. I considered it more of wanting to do so smoothly. I said that in my initial introductory video, that I was seeking to play through smoothly. And there'll be certain areas that if people didn't understand the philosophy of what I was doing, then they may not really get it. You know, like for instance, there is the stuff assigned EMC in Botania. Now, the reason for that is because we're trying to do it as fast as possible. There we, no, not quite. Gosh, so close. We're trying to do everything as fast as possible. That's the whole point. This is a challenge thing. I compare it to the Sky Factory challenges, although the Sky Factory challenges are much more advanced in how they're set up, and people have gone really, really crazy with that, with some tool assisted stuff, done it in like under an hour, you know, stuff like that, just crazy stuff. But there's a reason why things were assigned EMC, and that is because you don't have to remake them over and over again. You just make them once. That's the whole point. It's a speed type playthrough, and ProjectE, of course, facilitates that style. And so it was by design that this was done this way. And check my initial video to see that it really wasn't my design initially. I completely changed the makeup of the mods. And in retrospect, there's many mods in here that I wouldn't have needed to use that I never even touched. Like Mechanism became more of a hindrance in the amount of ores that it put in my initial playthroughs. My initial mining of ores from the Orchid, I didn't need them. I didn't need any of those because I never even touched Mechanism really. Mechanism just gave me mobs with more armor and stuff. So it was more of a hindrance than a help. Same thing with Mystical Agriculture. I never even used it, but you don't know that this is a good pack in the sense that it gives you more options. There's other pathways through this than the pathway that I took. And overall, there'll be some faster pathways. Come on, guy. You got to get there. You're so close, man. Just cross over. Go ahead. And try to fill it up. Let it fill up a little bit more here. See if we can get the cross point. That's only on 2. If you don't get it on all 4 in this scenario, then there's going to be 2 that's completely wasted that they would never even go in there. Let me keep checking it because I'm that close. Yeah, there we go. SS rank, guys. Let's mark it. 9:45. Okay, so 1 hour and 35 minutes is what we're looking at. All right, so one thing I want to do is I want to turn this off. Okay, and that's the universal remote. But so you could get a viewpoint at that. Then I'm going to go ahead and turn off these 2. First of all, I'm going to turn it on just so you could see the cakes. I want you to see the cakes, how they work at full speed. Because it is just an absolute, I don't know, they are just greedy, just eating cakes like crazy. 9 by 9 is so there could be 81 cakes being produced there that's being fed through all these Kekimuras, right? All right, so let's try and slow it down a little bit. You can see all the mana flow into it. I'm going to see if I can't get a better tick rate by turning these guys off. It slows it down overall, but generally, I mean, you could see now the cake refreshing. So it's a lot faster with the ProjectE stuff, but we can get a look at it because, again, part of my design was aesthetics, doing it as a cake. I should have made this as red wool. That would look better. But anyway, it is like a mana cake. That was part of the design. I wanted it to be aesthetic as well. So, guys, we have achieved it. We have a Terra Shatterer SS. Okay, we did it in 1 hour, 35 minutes, which is a pretty big improvement over the 2 hours I had even posted up to this point. Let me go full screen. And we do have the Tier 6 solar panel produced from Environmental Tech. We have the Tier 7 energy core filled. Let's look at it actually to see how much RF we used. It is still transferring 2.13. So yeah, we didn't hardly use any, honestly, from 2.14 to 2.13 something, 99.5. So we didn't hardly use any. So again, if you have a much beefier computer, you could probably even accelerate this even more. I pushed it to the limit of what I was able to do, but there is, I wonder what all these guys are doing all gathered. They're plotting against me, man. I know it. I know it. I got to watch it here. But anyway, this has been so much fun, guys. Cannot even tell you how much fun this has been. I really wanted to bring together some of those playthrough styles, like I told you. And I know that there's going to be purists out there that just think that, that's cheating or whatever. But I just submit to you that it is a different style of play. This is a challenge style of play. Now, obviously, challenges, it's a challenge to play it as it was intended to. But making sure that all these have EMC is what allowed you to just make it and move on. Just do it one time. That's all you needed to do it. That was the goal, was to make it and then move on to the next thing so you could get to the end of the cycle. And that allowed me to move through And again, I've done it in a time range that I've am very comfortable with. I think I succeeded in my goal of what I wanted to do. I'm going to say day 35. We'll stop the time, here. Doesn't really matter, but let's just say 12:53-ish. So nearly 13 hours is basically what it took. But keep in mind that we went from nothing, zero. We built all this from scratch, from just a small little platform. Garden of Glass was the beginning. And from there, we've built this whole environment. And, see, that's a nice frame rate right there. So it's really these that just destroy it, just absolutely destroy it. So you could get a decent amount of mana and a decent frame rate with this setup alone, but you're going to have to get a long ways because it's very costly to do so. But anyway, we'll turn that off now. But we did the full range of stuff, I believe, that was required. There are some other setups that I learned from this and will played in this as examples while I was doing my testing, and maybe I'll present some of those using some of the cool tools that were available to us. Like I have a pretty good setup using, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, this guy here, which was the Chance Dark Matter Pickaxe that auto smelts ores and triples ores and gives you XP from it. So I had a nice Rose Arcana set up from the Orchid and stuff like that. That was pretty cool that I'll present to you if you want to see that kind of stuff. ProjectE is now updated to convert all these animals into the newer types of animals. So I guess we can get llamas and holy crap. I guess that's this texture pack. That's funny looking. But anyway, guys, I had so much fun doing this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It looks like we'll end at like episode 22 or something, which is not bad for a series like this. And this is our cake here. So, that's our celebration for the completion is we've got our cake. But anyway, this is the sky block here. I didn't focus any on aesthetics at all. Although, I think that's good to do. I just didn't do it because you don't have time to do it. That's another thing is that you're just working on time just to press forward and do as much as you can. But anyway, thanks so much, guys, for watching till the end here. And please leave a like or some comments and let me know what you think of this playstyle. I may do more stuff like it in the future. We'll see. It depends on you guys. So anyway, take care. This is Scott O'Mato signing off on this series with a great big success, guys. We did it. We did it. We did it. So take care. Have a great day. This is Scott O'Mato. Bye-bye.